Welcome to the show, guys. Got an exciting one here for you. We are talking about draft day steals. Yes, these guys are sleepers. They're great value. You literally can walk away with them this year in your fantasy football lineups and get an immense value and an amazing steal. So I'm excited to dive into these players. I got about 8 of them for you, including 2 of them I haven't really talked about too much that I'm going to mention here in this video. The other ones, if you're new to the channel, you may not have heard of. If you're a regular to the channel, you may have heard of some of these names, but I can't stop talking about them and the immense value that they are and the steal that you're getting them for in these drafts. These guys could be immense value, big time boom potential, breakout potential, and they're sleepers. The consensus that consumers are sleeping on these guys massively, and that's the beauty of drafting with my strategy with the 16-round draft solution and following this channel, is that we are light years ahead of the competition. Now, if you watched some of the preseason games this past weekend, you saw some of the guys that I mentioned had really, really good weeks, including guys like Romeo Dobbs, which is a steal. There's a bonus one here for you. And some of the other guys that I'm going to mention here that had mini little breakouts in the first week of preseason. So these guys are draft steals. You want to target them on your rosters. Now, before we get into this, make sure you guys do secure the 16-round draft solution. Sleepers, breakouts, optimal players drafted in each round. Secure the solution, secure the championship. I've linked it below. Now, we're getting a little bit of wind here, but it's such a beautiful day. I just couldn't waste it sitting in the studio. So I came out here and wanted to give you guys some content here on this beautiful Sunday as we are just wrapping up first week of preseason and heading into full flow fantasy football draft season. So make sure you guys are subscribed, line thumbs up, and grab that 16-round draft solution. Use code SMASH to save. I've linked it below. Now, in the comments below, let me know. I want to get your feedback. Who is the person that's jumping out at you this year as a major draft steal? Who's jumping out and saying, man, I can't believe that guy is coming off round 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Man, this guy's going to be a top 10 finisher. Drop it below. Let me know who you think is a draft steal and a big-time sleeper. All right, guys? Let's dive into it. Again, smash that thumbs up. It really helps the channel, and comment below. Let's make it interactive. So I've got my list here on my paper. I make my notes on my paper, and it may fly away here as we're talking, but let's dive into it. The first draft day steal. All right. Now, this guy had himself a pretty good preseason game. I was watching the tape on him prior to the season, and he had himself a pretty good preseason game. The guy I'm talking about is Tank Bigsby, coming off in round 9. Now, if you put these guys, I put up a picture on my Instagram, on my story mode, of these guys side to side. I think Bigsby had posted it. I think Jacksonville's had actually done it. It was a picture from them behind. Bigsby looks bigger, looks stronger. Watching him in the first preseason game, he looks like he runs harder. He was a 3rd-round pick. And here's the thing. You don't necessarily have to be a Bigsby believer, but you just have to not believe in ATN. So Travis Etienne, side by side, Bigsby looked a lot bigger. And again, he looked good in that preseason game, running strong, running hard. I think he broke up for a 34-yard run. So Tank Bigsby is currently coming off in round 9. This guy can and should be the RB1. Very, very viable. Now, the only reason ATN is number 1 is because he was drafted with a high draft capital a couple years ago, didn't play his rookie season, crapped the bed last year. And I cannot stop talking about how bad ATN was last year and how inconsistent he was. So the fact that I don't believe in ATN and the fact that I can steal, it's a draft steal, guys, a sleeper. Okay, I could get Bigsby in around 8, 9, or 10. Sometimes it's falling to as late as round 11, depending on your league. And if they know who he is, I can get Tank Bigsby later. I mean, it's a no-brainer to me. I'm going to get the guy that looks better, more upside in Tank Bigsby. And even if it's a split committee, 50-50, I get the guy with the higher ceiling, and I get him for immense value. I don't have to spend a 2nd or 3rd-round pick, which the consensus and sheeps are telling you to do in ATN. So Tank Bigsby is a big-time draft steal. Absolutely love him. Let's keep going here. Another guy that could be an absolute steal, coming off in rounds 3 to 5, depending on your league, is Christian Watson, okay? Now, here's a bonus one for you. And again, I told you I'm going to give you about 8 for this video, 7, 8-ish. Draft steals. The guy I'm talking about here is Christian Watson, okay? And the bonus one is Jordan Love. So Jordan Love, again, looked relatively efficient on his drive there in the first preseason game. I know it's preseason. I don't put too much weight on preseason, but I think he'll be a relatively efficient quarterback. He's a steal as a backup quarterback. That being said, since we're talking about sleepers and draft steals, there's a ton of quarterbacks that can be great backup steals that have top 10 upside. A guy like Kenny Pickett, a guy like Jordan Love, maybe even one of these rookie Rookie running backs coming in, right? Anthony Richardson. These guys can and potentially will and should break out. Not all of them, but some of them. Now, they're going to be relatively inefficient. Like you saw CJ Stroud in his preseason game throw a pick. That's going to happen, guys, with these rookies as they're getting settled in. They're going to have the jitters. But the guy I'm talking about here is Christian Watson, particularly. I think he's a great steal. I think he's underrated. I don't think he's peaked on his talent. And even him and Dobbs, both these guys, because of the uncertainty of because of Jordan Love, Romeo Dobbs and Christian Watson are being slept on. So I just think that, when you're talking steals, Christian Watson is a big-time draft steal. Number 3, coming in number 3 here. Again, no particular order. I don't talk about this guy too much, and I'm personally not drafting him. That being said, it doesn't mean he cannot be a draft steal. The next guy I'm going to talk about here is Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas, just watched a preseason game. They were targeting him, trying to get his confidence back up. Again, I'm not drafting Michael Thomas. If you guys want to draft him, you guys go ahead. But Olave is the guy coming off of rounds 2 to 3. Michael Thomas coming off many rounds later. I haven't even really looked and solidified his ADP. I think he's coming off anywhere between rounds 5 to 8-ish, give or take, depending on if people are in your league. Again, I'm not drafting Michael Thomas. I'm avoiding. Although, if he's healthy, he can, and it's very viable that he becomes Derek Carr's primary target. Again, I'm not saying he is. I'm not drafting him. I don't believe in him. I'm on the Olave train. But that being said, this could happen. Again, this is up to you guys to make the decision and determine if Michael Thomas is a draft steal. So that's why I want you guys to comment below. Let me know your thoughts on Michael Thomas. Again, I'm still an Olave believer. And Thomas, here's to wow us. We're not wowed. Not really sold that he's going to bounce back. But anything is viable. He said he's playing with a chip on his shoulder, okay? Next guy here, we're talking about Tank Bigsby. We talked about Watson. We talked about Michael Thomas. We talked about a sleeper in there. We talked about a draft steal and Jordan Love being a backup, Kenny Pickett. The next guy, you saw him in the preseason game. Got him listed down here. He's literally going undrafted. Now he's on the consensus radar. Now they're all of a sudden talking about him. The guy I'm talking about is Tank Dell. He made that amazing catch in week 1 of preseason where he was in the end zone. It kind of went up, the ball went up in the air, landed on him, made an amazing catch. And then it went viral. Everybody, the NFL Network, the NFL, everybody was starting to post Tank Dell. The mainstream sheets started talking about him. And all of a sudden, he is now on everybody's radar. I'm telling you, before this, back in April, I had Tank Dell drafted in my draft. Or was it May when I did my draft? It was April, May. I had Tank Dell on my team. It was right after the NFL draft. I have him in a that was a $300 buy-in league, but I have him in all my leagues as a sleeper. Like literally, it's my last pick. I mean, why not? Why not get Tank Dell on your teams? This guy could and should be the wide receiver on his team. I'm not really sold on Collins being the guy. John Mechie could be a sleeper as well to draft steal. But you are literally getting guys like Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs, John Mechie. I've talked about this Tank Dell for an absolute steal because of the uncertainty of the quarterback. But here's the deal, guys. These guys can and should be potential wide receiver ones. If you're getting any inefficiencies, you're going to be getting them from the quarterbacks that are going to be throwing picks. So maybe fade the quarterbacks like CJ Stroud. But if the volume keeps feeding Tank Dell, these guys are very viable wide receiver 2s on your team. It can be wide receiver 1s on their team. So, I mean, why not go for a guy like Tank Dell later, who now is probably going to jump up a couple rounds? He might even come off in rounds 12 to 13 where he was coming off. He wasn't even coming off. He was going undrafted. Now he's on people's radar. So why not target a guy like Tank Dell? He can be an absolute draft steal. All right, give you a couple more here that jump out at me. I'm losing track of how many I'm giving you. I'm just giving you a bunch. This is a huge value video. So make sure you guys do subscribe, thumbs up, leave a comment below, and get that 16-round draft solution because you know exactly where to get these guys. And not only that, you'll know how to make your roster optimal, right? You got to need a backup plan for a backup plan. You need to anchor your team with today's quarterback. You need to know how to make sure your roster is optimal. You could do that with the 16-round draft solution. Use code SMASH to save. I've linked it below. Next guy here I want to talk about is Deuce Vaughn. This is again, last round stash. His ADP is going to go up, and he did look good. He did look shifty in week 1 of preseason. He is small. He's like 5'5", 170 pounds, pure muscle. He's an absolute bulldog. And again, he's very hard to tackle, low center of gravity, ultra explosive. And he gets out into that open field. Look out. He's got that breakaway speed. So Deuce Vaughn, all of a sudden on everybody's radar, and I guess that's a reason why they haven't acquired anybody else, and they're just kind of running with Pollard here. I'm not sold that Pollard can stay healthy the whole season. I believe Deuce Vaughn is that X factor and will be used in many situations and can be a very viable flex with major upside, and he's an absolute fantasy football draft sleeper. and a steal on your rosters. Again, we're seeing it in preseason. Guys I've been talking about for months are now on the consensus Chiefs' radar, and their ADP has jumped up a little bit, going from undrafted to possibly coming off in the last couple rounds, or even rounds 12 to 14 in some rounds. I'm seeing them come off in mock drafts. People starting to pick these guys up. So Deuce Vaughn, absolute draft steal. The next guy here, okay, well, I'll give you two. It's a 1-2 punch, and they're big-time sleepers. Again, similarly to the uncertainty of the quarterback with Kenny Pickett, is Deontay Johnson and George Pickens. These guys are absolute draft steals, and George Pickens was the one that really shined in week 1 of preseason. I'm telling you guys, I mean, if you look at a guy like George Pickens, young, dynamic talent, never really got going. You got Kenny Pickett, improved O-line, integrated into the offense now Pickett has. So Pickett to Pickens, that's a tongue twister, can be really amazing, and both these guys are draft steals. Again, the consensus Chiefs are sleeping on Deontay Johnson and Pickens, and Pickett for that matter. Big-time draft steals. Now, I've given you guys a ton of guys here. I'm going overboard here with this. So, again, smash thumbs up. I'll give you one more here. That's an absolute draft steal, which is unbelievable, okay? Just by the way here, you know, Deontay Johnson. I still got David Johnson on the mind. He endorsed the brand back in 2016. I called that in his breakout here. That was a long time ago. But no, Deontay Johnson coming off rounds 5 to 5 typically. Pickett's coming off between 5 and 7. His ADP's kind of shot up after week 1 of preseason. People are more on people's radar. You know, Christian Watson round 4-ish. Dobbs coming off well later, rounds 8 to 9. Again, depending on your league. Tank Bigsby around round 9-ish coming off, give or take, depending on people in your league. But again, one more here for you. I'm going to go through this. Again, I'm just having an open chat with you guys. Next thing I want to talk about here is Dameon Pierce, I should say. Love the talent, love the upside. RB like 20 on the consensus rankings. Love the ceiling, love the upside. Great talent. True RB1 on his team. Singletary sucks. Make sure you target him as well. Now, these guys are sleepers, but they're also draft steals. I don't necessarily want to call them sleepers because some of them, you know, I know that they're good. It's just that you're getting them for just immense value in your drafts, and they've got that top 10, top 15 finish. Watson could absolutely go off this year. Could absolutely go off. Both him and Dobbs are both steals. And again, Dobbs shined in preseason, showed what he's capable of. Good route runner, good hands. Again, there's way more draft steals than this. All the players, all the sleepers, all the breakouts I laid out in 16 rounds. So grab the solution. I've linked it below. 16 rounds. TheFantasyFootballCouncil.com. Use code SMASH to save. Guys, full flow fantasies here. Beautiful sunny day. Enjoy your weekend. Wanted to get you guys some extra content today. Subscribe, thumbs up, and we'll talk soon, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Enjoy the preseason games. And guys, it's so close. Fantasy full force here. I'm excited. Are you excited? Drop a comment and thumbs up. Show your enthusiasm. I'm out.